This episode of the Coarse podcast has been brought to you by Central Sports and Graphics Incorporated, family-owned and operated screen printing and embroidery business located in a historic storefront on Old Berwick Road in the heart of Espy. They've been doing screen printing for over 20 years. They have high-quality product at a low price. Be sure to check them out. Central Sports and Graphics Incorporated, 570-784-1212. Now, on to the show.
Hey all you food lovers, this is Dakota Weiss, chef of Sweet Fin Poke, and you are listening to Shawn Rosler's Coarse Grind podcast. Good stuff.
All right, there we go. It would appear that we're live. Yes, we are. We are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is episode number 145 of the Coarse Grind podcast. A little different. Those of you tuning in, hearing the audio, you're just hearing the audio because you're not watching it live on Facebook like the cool kids are. That's where we are. We're doing it live. So like I posted, you hop on, ask some questions, talk a little bit. I've got a bunch of stuff to go over, a bunch of stuff to talk about. But in the meantime, jump on, jump in, have at. Let me know what you're thinking. So obviously tonight, no guest, just an update. And I feel like the show itself has been going through a fair amount of... What's up, Julie? Good to see you. Good to hear from you. The show itself has been, through some upheaval. I mean, it's still going. Those of you paying attention, all 5 of you probably noticed it slowed down. Long story short, and keeping it general, TV thing almost happened, didn't happen. So it is what it is. You can't be too bummed about that. I like to think there's been a lot more important things going on in this world. And naturally, I think starting off, I think we have to just go right into that. Obviously, we have a new president, and obviously to a good number of listeners, that's great news. And maybe to some of you, it's not as great news. I think no matter what side you're looking at, you'd be terribly, terribly dishonest to not identify that we are in a deep, dark state of affairs in this country, and this might be a step forward. I think if you can't at least acknowledge that, you're being patently dishonest, borderline pathological liar about it. It is what it is. And so we're going to move forward and looking at it from the perspective of the show, of the podcast, of all things culinary, we have to look at what that means for the restaurant industry. And I know there are a number of you in the industry that are super opinionated, super deep into it because you're an owner, you're a manager, you're all these things. And, maybe haven't been a fan of the regulations. But I think going forward, getting back to a sense of normalcy and embracing science as what's going to pull us out of this, do I think we're going to see like an immediate, repeal of COVID and everything's good again? No, absolutely not. As a matter of fact, while it's going to get worse, while we're in this period right now where, it is, and if you're paying attention to numbers, because not a lot's been done, they've only gotten worse. So what do we need to do? And so fortunately for our country, for our future generations, science is going to come back into being listened to, being respected, being understood. And, I think from a restaurant front, from an owner front, I think we'll probably see some restrictions go back into place. They're a little heavier than they are now, but the good side of that is that like nations, like areas that have done this, that have really kind of adhered to the limitations, I think we see a quicker turnaround out of it. It's not just this, well, they're just trying to be assholes about it. No, it's not it at all. There's science to it. And, the basic science of virology, as opposed to whatever suits someone's fancy. And I'm not going to slide hard left political, like, I'm not going to do what everyone thinks I'm going to do. But again, I think you're being patently dishonest if you can't acknowledge that, like, science was not only not listened to, but completely ignored. And so there is a science to it. Virology is a science, and you can predict these things, and Fauci did, and whatever. My point to all of this is, good to see you, Adele. Good to see you, dear. I think the restaurant industry will see a light at the end of the tunnel, but I think, whereas we're at 50% capacity, I was just overseeing my buddy Neville at Turkey Hill Brewing here in Bloomsburg. I encourage you to go because they're awesome there. I was talking to them and they're at 50. And, it's enough to keep, lights on, keep everybody employed and everything like that. I think everybody wants to see it go back to 100%, but we can't go back to 100% until the science takes hold and we handle this in a scientific, level-headed fashion that doesn't involve ego, that doesn't involve this being some kind of personal statement. We've lost too many people. We've lost too much because of it. And, again, I really, really, really feel confident that we're headed in a better direction. Is it tomorrow? No. Is it the next day? No. Does it take time? Sure. Absolutely. But I think we get there. So, new presidency, new vice presidency. And let's take a step back. One of my favorite things to do here on the show is to talk about the strong female presence in culinary. I love, like, some of my favorite guests, realizing it's a 50-50 split. Of course, if we're talking non-binary, maybe it's not 50-50 split, but for just simplicity's sake, 50% of my guests, are female. But I love the stories of the chef owner, of the female chef owner. It's so strong. And, that almost seems trivial compared to what we just did as a nation. What we're seeing, the first woman of color, the first woman vice president, the first woman of color vice president. I mean, two pretty stellar, spectacular, amazing, incredible things. I've got 3 boys, but damn, it's moments like these that make me wish I had a daughter. So I could be like, see, you got this. So if you happen to have a daughter, and I don't, maybe you do, and I'm just checking notifications. I'm like I have to kind of like multi-source this input here. I'm just looking through notifications right now. Oh, hey, okay, hi. And there's more. Speaking of daughters, Marie, good to see you. That's significant. And if you have a daughter, man, and you're tucking her in tonight, or maybe she's old enough that she doesn't get tucked in. I'm 43. I still love getting tucked in. Hi, Mom. Definitely take a moment with that just incredible historical moment. And that's what it is. And I mean, it's not even here yet, man, but some of you were victims of my late evening / post birthday party / party bus teary calls last night because of just how powerful it was for me watching it. I have those of you, who listen, who maybe don't know me intimately. We have a son with different needs. We have, we have his health and welfare to be concerned with, maybe not now, maybe downstream. And so when we look at things like pre-existing conditions and all that, this administration turning this corner is a big deal. So, but in any case, so needless to say, apologies in advance for some of my booger cry calls last night, but it was a super strong moment, for me as a dad, for me as an American, for me as a voter, for me as a husband, man. I look at Greta and, everything that we do and we're able to do and she's able to do, because she's an absolute beast. And those of you that know her know that, but again, to see it validated, I saw across the ticker today, I don't know if it was on CNN or NPR or something, but like literally Kamala Harris positioned to the like highest and most powerful office that a woman has ever held in this nation. Unreal. And like my next breath was, don't stop there. Let's go. Keep going. Because we can go farther. And I don't want this all to be political, but like I just have all this stuff in my head. I gotta get it out. Maybe some of you resonate with it, some of you vibe with it. If you do, if you don't, tell me. Like I'm trying to monitor. I'm trying to be as ADD as I typically am, and like look all over the place for input. So if you comment, I'm hopefully gonna see it. But somebody, I'm not sure where I saw the story, and maybe if you saw the same, comment, let me know. But Biden is pretty much of the position where he's like, I'm going to do 4 years and get out. And it's almost like, wow, is he going to manage up Kamala Harris? Because that would be incredible. I mean, what an incredible, powerful turn of events that would be. Again, nobody's perfect. There's no perfect candidate. There's no perfect person. There's no perfect politician, that's for sure. But just from an equality standpoint, just from an equity standpoint, how powerful would that be? And that's open-ended. I don't know that there's necessarily a good answer to that. I don't think there is. But how strong? How historically powerful an event, really. I mean, whatever side you lean to, and either way, there would be worries from the other side of the aisle. Of course, there would be. I was on Chris Babcock's Dinner with Schmucks podcast the other night, and we were talking about, belief systems and why it's easier to believe that which you want to believe. And, we go into things like these knowing what we want to be true. And then when it doesn't maybe come to pass, we still want that to be true. But like, look, it's not. And there's going to be want from the side that didn't get what they wanted. Great. I really believe we're in the best position possible to at least push that forward a little bit. Is it perfect? No. But perfect is the enemy of good, as I like to say. So, in any case, there's your little political wrap up. The outcome of the election, which it was going to go one way or the other. That's how they do it. There it is. So, enough about the politicking. Trebek, Alex Trebek. Speaking of things trivial, get it? Because it's trivia. He passed away today, 80 years old. Perfect round number. Of course it was a perfect round number, right? Had to be. For as neat and together as that guy is, it had to be a round number. 80, and he was 1940 to 2020. How crazy is that? Like, he had his shit together even when he passed away. So, it's incredible. Someone shared a post with Neil deGrasse Tyson, who, by the way, those unaware, did threaten to slap me while he was giving a keynote speech. This is a true story. If anyone's listening who can corroborate that story from eLearning Guild, that did happen. He did threaten me. Did it lovingly, and it was a joke, obviously, but little did I know he was an all-state wrestler. Anywho, Neil deGrasse Tyson was on Questions for Jeopardy several times, and he got like memorabilia and stuff from Jeopardy, and he had a Jeopardy flag, and it's a pretty cool post. He's holding it up, and basically the post said something like, "Thank you to the patron saint of geeks," and I was like, wow, that's powerful. Because I think, and actually one of my buddies from college posted this, and while not an identical experience, I remember realizing I had something a little more up top because of Alex Trebek. Like, I would watch it and I would answer these things that I knew, and I didn't think twice about it. And the adults in the room would be like, which most times were my parents, so please don't misunderstand. But they would stop and they would look and they'd be like, hell? And, I didn't think anything of it at that time. And yet, fast forward, you find out like, oh wow, no, he's smart. I'm annoying as hell to play a game with. Ask anybody who knows me. Ask anybody who's played Scrabble with me. Apologies, Tommy Brower, for the 7-letter word first move in our game together on Words with Friends. Rostaddy, by the way, if anyone's interested. Rostaddy. I totally did. I smoked them 69 points first word of the game. So, Tommy, sorry, buddy. But looking at Jeopardy, looking at what Alex Trebek, what this kind, sweet Canadian did for intelligence. And it is funny, you can kind of connect the election in that, I feel like intelligence and science and knowledge were buried for a while. But I always felt, whenever I was watching Jeopardy, like, I don't know, it was cool to be smart. I remember, and those of you from like my school days, again, Adele, you remember Enrichment and Gifted and all that. But I remember like being subtly made fun of for being smart. Gym teacher taught health in middle school, and 6th grade we were doing a quiz. We had health class in the cafeteria. I'm not sure why. Small school district, maybe, I don't know. And the generator or something kicked on, like the blower, the big industrial blower for the HVAC system in the school kicked on, and it was really loud. And I remember him saying, "Oh, everyone relax. That's just Rosler's brain turning on." And like I laughed. I thought it was cool because the teacher like pointed me out. And the more over the years, and I don't know why that resonated with me so much. Like it was almost like a calling out. And so for anybody who's embraced knowledge, who loves the things less maybe socially cool or anything like that, like the feeling I'm talking about. And so somebody like Alex Trebek, a show like Jeopardy made you feel okay. It made you feel like, oh, well, there is a reason I know the things I know. So there they are. So, I mean, man, a loss, absolutely. Was it a loss we saw coming? Sure. He was really sick. Pancreatic cancer, there's no getting around it. He said he fought it right up until the very end. And I guess the final episode they recorded is going to be broadcast on Christmas Day, which I think is awesome. But there you go. There you have it. Thank you. So who is someone who will be missed? Alex Trebek. So Trebek, sir. Trebek. Well done. Sean Connery beat him to heaven, though. Anywho. So there's kind of the more topical, non-culinary stuff out of the way. Let's talk culinary. Let's talk show. Again, getting back to it, I've missed you all terribly. I've missed doing this terribly. I'll be honest. But I felt pulled in a lot of different ways, which, by the way, if anyone wants a hat, message the show, let me know. I felt pulled in a lot of different ways. Again, the thing I still can't talk about that involved a TV show, it took a lot out of me. It took my focus away, and that's okay. I've got to give myself that space, but rest assured, I am not kidding. I was just talking to a friend of the show today, and we rescheduled. We were going to record tomorrow. We're going to record next week. So we're doing the episode now. We're going to do an episode next week. I'm going to get back into that weekly cadence. That's what I'm shooting for. And I think we'll be in good shape. So, but again, I absolutely did miss everybody. I want to really kind of lean back into it. We've got 150 coming up. So I know like every 50 I've done something pretty cool and plugged in with like the local food bank. I still want to do something realizing the limitations of what we have. So I'm thinking maybe it's a fundraiser again. Maybe it's a stupid Shawn trick. Maybe I do the Pocky One Chip Challenge. So I see some of you watching. Like if you're watching and you would want to see me suffer on cam, like let me know. Because I would consider that. Like it's hell. If you don't know what it is, go look it up. If you do know what it is, you know what I'd be dealing with. But, something I'd consider doing. I don't know. Maybe I do a live show. I don't know. I've got some time. So, and maybe we just pass by it. Who knows? One thing that I wanted to bring up, though, is in relation to the show. I am currently being auctioned off. I mean that in the best possible way. The Hand in Hand Resource Center, which I'm actually going to bring up their site just so I can speak intelligently to their mission. Like I know basically what they do. And Tony, if you're watching, I apologize for not doing my homework like a good host would do. Oh, it's pretty basic. Yeah, it's pretty basic. A place to find local resources for the caregivers of individuals with special needs. So I came into knowing about Hand in Hand Family Resource Center here around the Bloomsburg area. Again, because our youngest happens to have autism and a stellar sense of humor in addition to that. So I came into knowing about it and, plugging in with them. And I think last year was the year they were going to do a skills auction and it fell through. And Tony Yates reached out to me and, asked if I would do a cooking. I don't even know if she asked me or if I said, oh, here, how about if I just go into someone's home and, teach them, I don't know, basic knife techniques or how to make something they've always wanted to make. And it fell through last year, but it is hot and rolling this year. The bidding's going. So if you're out on the podcast page, go check it out. What is Ross Daddy? You're friends with words nom de plume. What's going on, Lynn? Yes, it is. Ross Daddy, let me sidestep from the auction, and then I'll talk more about the auction because this is a story worth telling. Ross Daddy was a nickname granted to me because it's not 7 letters. Yeah, Ross Daddy wasn't the word I used. The word I used was boggled, actually. But yeah, that's my username in Words with Friends. So if you play, man, add me, get on it. But Ross Daddy was a name given to me in college when I had hair down to here. Maybe I'll find a picture and put it on the page. And it just stuck. It never went away, and it was like my first personal email account, which I think I made. Oh shit, it would have been like 97, 98, and so I still have it, man. It's one of the oldest possessions I have right now. Still with it, still Hotmail, so it's pretty amazing. So the auction, again, plugged in with them, personal interest alone. I wanted to get connected with these folks who do amazing work, and I think it's really cool when you are maybe an autism parent or something like that, and you find these other people that you can vibe with, that you can connect with, and it makes you feel not as alone. I mean, because it can feel lonely at times. So I find this group, it's awesome, great, So line up to do the auction. Last year falls through. This year it's hitting. There is a link on the podcast page. On the Facebook podcast page. If you go out to Hand in Hand, you can go through, it's Hand in Hand Family Resource Center out on Facebook. If you scroll through, you'll see all the stuff that's up for auction, and it's really cool. I'm personally amazed that there was even a bid, let alone more than one, but it's happening. So let me give you kind of the overview of what's going to go down. Like, should you look at this and should you go, I'd like a strange bearded man to show me how to wield a knife. This can be done. So what does it involve? Well, for me, from my mind's place, and, honestly, if some of you have ideas about maybe a different way to work out this cooking lesson, feel free to message the show and let me know. I'm open to it. But as I see it, we talk up front. If you win, if you bid, and I think bidding's open through the 24th or the 16th. I should know that too, shouldn't I? Hang on, I'm looking. Online skills auction. Let's see. November 18th. Completely wrong because I suck. So bidding is open through the November 18th. And, should you be the lucky winner, big air quotes on lucky, we would talk a little bit first and see like just what it is you want to work on. So we can go as simple as like, hey, I've always wanted to know how to chop an onion and not have it take 15 minutes. How do they, this is one of my favorite questions. And I'm not picking on anybody, Elisa Sanders from across the street. One of my favorite questions is, how do you cut an onion like the people on TV? I can show you that. I can show you that. I can show you a lot more. I can show you how to apparently spill a beer in your lap, which I just did, but I'm a professional, so I'm going to keep going. I can show you a good handful of, knife technique, saucing, deglazing, so we can take things just as like broad generalities. Hey, I want to know how to make a pan sauce. If you sear a steak in a pan and you just habitually leave that goodness in the bottom of the pan for whatever, you can use that. Like there's great uses for that. There's balancing of oil, acid, salt, heat, all these things. And again, we're not going to be able to get through and give you your toque, your tall white chef hat at the end of an hour. But I mean, we can cover a lot in an hour. Or if there's a dish that you've wanted to do or you've done and it's not quite there, like I want to sit down with you. I want to understand what you're looking for and see if we can get that there. So that's part of it. So I mean, it's really kind of vague, but basically, and again, the hour thing is kind of a loose constraint, put it that way. Because like if we start working on something, I'm gonna work through it with you, and I do believe if you were of that proclivity who enjoys things fermented or otherwise, we might have to share a few cocktails together too and talk shop. So that's all part of it. That's all part of the deal. That's all part of the bid. So go out there to Hand in Hand Family Resource Center like yesterday and start bidding, because currently you're being outbid. So you want to get in on that. What else? God, I've been going for 30 minutes. Doesn't feel like it. I haven't been on air that much lately. Maybe that's why. Maybe I'm getting some resistance back. Upcoming shows, let's talk about that, and then I'll wrap it up. Yeah, lots going on. Hopefully folks got a chance to listen to the Randy Brink episode, which would have been 144. Recent trip up to Honesdale to just go up and see the parents. Honesdale, Pennsylvania is this wonderful, big up to Honesdale. When you say things like culinary renaissance, culinary revival, I think those things can kind of get passed around a lot and not totally meant. But goddamn, Honesdale, 18431, up in the armpit of Pennsylvania, right up in the corner, upper right corner, northeast corner. They are doing some just amazing things with the culinary scene. Just to name a few, Dieberry Forks, which was closed. It was open, then it closed. Now it's open again. Incredible farm to table presence. Here and Now Brewing. Absolutely adore the people there. If you go there and you have a bad time, you need to let me know, because I don't think it's possible. Summer, like just alone, summer is enough to carry the presence of the restaurant. And then, there's the brewery. There's everybody else that's there. Ben, the last time I was in, thank you so much, buddy, for taking the time to come out and talk with us. It was an absolute pleasure. And the tacos were savage, just savage. And they made tortillas out of spent grain. So for folks maybe not in the know, when you make beer, the grain that you like take all the stuff out of typically goes somewhere, and somewhere typically like a farm for animal feed. Like that's where it goes. But these geniuses, these absolute savages, take the spent grain and make tortillas out of it, and they're amazing. They have characteristics that obviously a typical tortilla wouldn't have. So good, so amazing, so incredible. So yeah, I mean, Here and Now. So we got Dieberry Forks, Here and Now, Native. I've had Caleb on, I've had Randy on from Native, and to say that they spoiled us, my wife and I, when we went up, would be a market understatement. 12 plates later, they just had these sadistic grins, like, we know we just destroyed your insides, and in the best possible way, as it really was. I mean, again, looking at sustainability, farm to table, and just locally sourced goodness. That's what they were all about. So, lots of stuff going on up there, and I think more to come. It seems like stuff is emerging constantly up there. So you want to make sure to stay tuned to all of that. So my point to all of that is, I went up and we went to some places, which I don't want to spoil yet, because there's one that will hopefully be an up and coming episode, which I'm really, really stoked for. And it's just amazing to know that this was in this town that I grew up in, that I couldn't wait to get away from. So there's that. That's coming. So those are some of the upcoming episodes that you can expect. Dipping back into the Top Chef pot, revisiting with some old friends, with a power couple, actually, of Top Chef. Oh, there's some spoiler alert. That's going to be next Monday's episode. Here, you want some behind the scenes? Shit, hang on. So this is how organized I am when I episode plan. But between doing some Top Chef revisits and talking to folks from home, additionally, if you happen to be a YouTube lover like I am from time to time, there is a channel on YouTube called the Try Channel, and here's the basic encapsulation. It's a bunch of Irish people trying sometimes awful American food and sometimes really super powerful booze and sometimes some really disgusting stuff. But they're amazing. They're funny. I think like the most of them are like either stand-up comedians or some such. But the one just happens to be a doctor, and she has been kind enough to reach back out to the show. And so we're going to talk about actually a pretty important topic to most of us, and that's fiber. Ooh. But trust me, she makes it awesome. She makes it sexy. It's really cool. So I'm really looking forward to that. And that's going to bring us up to 150. So again, to wrap it back around, like, listen, if you watch this, if you listen to this, and you've got ideas floating around as far as maybe what we could do, maybe you know of an organization that needs a little bit of a helping hand, to raise some funds. Maybe something's going on. Maybe you know somebody. Like, reach out, let me know, because that's always been a platform of the show. That's always been something I've wanted to do, and I hope to continue to be able to do, especially now that we're kind of back in regular production schedule. So that's pretty much it. That's all the news that's fit to print, as they say. No questions this time, no interview this time, just me talking. But in closing, I really and sincerely hope that no matter what side of the aisle you live on, what side of the political scale you lean to, I really hope that we can all come together, be together, work together, and break bread together again. Because, at the end of the day, we're all humans. We're all in this life together. So I think it's the best we can do. Let's just be cool to one another, treat each other the best way possible, and just continue to move forward. And while you're doing that, I'm going to keep interviewing some pretty awesome people. And I know I can't wait, and I hope you can't wait either. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode number 145 of the Coarse Grind podcast. With me this evening has been me and a webcam and a beer and a hat. And if you want a hat, message the show. Remember I said that? Producer, as always, Johnny Leland Robinson, a.k.a. the Reverend Johnny Lamoria. Be sure to check out every single thing that dude's doing. He is busy, but he is truly the best in the game, and I count myself among the very fortunate to have him as a producer. Next episode is going to be number 146. Like I said, Top Chef Power Couple. How's that for a teaser? All right? So be good, be cool, stay hungry, but we will talk soon. Good night.
Are you passing through central Pennsylvania and looking for one of the best dining experiences and craft brew menus around? Look no further. Turkey Hill Brewing Company and 991 Central Road in Bloomsburg, PA has everything you could ask for and then some. Service, food, beer together. Unbelievable. Be sure to check them out. Call them today for reservations. 570-387-8422. Call today.